Hello and welcome to the weekly Scholar Strategy Review. We're going to dive right in, and this week's currency pairs I was looking at EUR JPY, CAD JPY, USD CAD, and AUD USD. I'm currently on CAD JPY just to go and show you actually how the week started. Okay, so this is Sunday. This was the first pivot line of the week. Now, if you were paying attention to what I mentioned last week, this, where all the EMAs are kind of bunched up, this is a no trade zone, okay? So all of this, no trades should have been entered, okay? It looks very messy. There's no clear indicator as to where it's going to be going, right? There's no lines that are spread apart. Everything is just kind of consolidating and zigzagging back and forth, all right? The only time that it would have been viable to take any trades would have been starting here, right? As you see, all the lines start spreading out. This would have been the first pivot. Now, nothing came close to that pivot, even though everything kept going. So this would have been enter at your own risk sort of thing if you'd want to jump in 30 minutes early around this bar. You know, still would have been a nice profit to have, almost, what, a 200 pip run almost, 193. That would have been pretty nice over the several hours, right? The only problem, the only trade that would have been taken that'd be viable is this one right here. Okay, so as the pivot came up, unfortunately, that rejection that started coming up, and then where the pivot formed, right, it just kept climbing. It had a little bit of a pull down before it went a little bit higher, then it finally dropped. So unfortunately, this would have been a loss if entered right where it should have been at the beginning, right? Now, I stayed out of all trades this week just because of the volatility in the news. So I took a little bit of a break, but I just want to show you how it would have worked out, okay? So no trades should have been taken around this area until the bars spread out. This one trade would have been taken, unfortunately, at a loss. So, you know, 0 for 1 for the week on CAD JPY. Euro JPY, a little bit of a different story. I just put up a couple of these bars, but I'll delete them all right now. Okay, just to leave a few up. All right, so there we go. I'll just leave that one there. So as everything is moving and spreading here, this trade would have been one of the viable trades to take at the beginning, and it would have been successful. All right, so here we go, right there, 15 pip, about that, and 45, there we go. So yes, the wick is in play, but let's take a look at the 30-minute and see how that ended up going. All right, typically as when market opens, it's very lucrative to jump in right away just because what ends up happening is broker spreads are through the roof. They could get up as high as 25 pips. So this definitely would not have been a good idea to enter as market opened, right? But let's see how that actually looked like on a smaller time frame, right? So as you see, the first 5-10 minutes, right? The first 10 minutes of market open, everything just started shooting down, okay? Then it recovered, and into the pivot line it went. And then it kind of zigzagged in and finally jumped into profit, right? So nothing really missed if it happened within the first 5 minutes, right, as you saw. The only trouble is if that would have been a trade taken immediately. And I got to say, having a 20 pip stop loss, you know, just as a broker spread, that's pretty nuts. So that would have been a winning trade if patience would have played out over the first hour or so. All right, as you saw, it came close to the second candle right here, but it kept coming up. Right, so that's 3 to 1 right here. The second potential trade would have been right there. The only trouble is the candle that would have crossed this pivot line was after the one that actually would have came into that area. So this would have been a no-go. This trade, when would it have triggered? past the 8-hour mark, so this is invalid. And then this I would have taken a buy on just because of where that's sitting, but I believe that would have been a break even. So let's take a look. All right. Yeah, so I mean, it came close. Unfortunately, it did not hit target, right? It came about 40 pips up, right? Missing that last 5. So unfortunately, this would have been a break even, worst case scenario, right? Even if it started dropping, could have taken some potential partials. Right, and then as soon as everything started tightening up, where you see the second pivot line kind of forming right on top of the other, not really making new highs, so I would have avoided taking all the trades until the drop happened here, right? So as you see, everything in this area after this trade right here, no go, right? These lines are too tight and it's just going sideways. Right? So it's hard to say if it's going to be going up or if it's going to be reversing. So it ended up dropping. And I mean, if that would have been a sell taken, that would be great. The trouble is, right, EMAs were all going up, so that would have been counter trend. So now, where all the lines are sitting right now, this would have been a sell as well. The trouble is, as you see, it was similar to CAD JPY. It shot up briefly before dropping further down. Right, so it was just a bit of a pullback in that area, right? And just to show you, it closed off this imbalance, right? Remember, if you went through any of the training sessions that I outlined before, right, we draw a volume profile from high to low right here. You can see a massive imbalance right there. And if we take the Gann box and go from wick to wick, right, you can see exactly where it came up before going lower. So that imbalance was quickly filled. Unfortunately, pivot line formed down there, so playing by the rules, that would have been a loss. So overall, so far it's 1 win, 1 break even, 1 loss, and this one would have been on a sell as well, and potentially still in the trade at close. Right? Came very close. I mean, it kind of went down and up, but we have to see on a smaller time frame to see if that entry would have been valid. Right? So Friday, 8 a.m. How does that all look? Let's see the 15-minute. All right, so here we go. See this pivot line? It was incredibly close to start right there. Okay, unfortunately, right, entry wasn't taken there because the pivot line was slightly higher. So currently, we'll be looking at a break-even worst case scenario. So 1 win, 2 break-evens, and a loss. So, and with the loss on the other one, that's up 1 to 1. Yeah, not the greatest so far. You know, it's been a pretty bad week considering everything. All the data that came out really hurt trades this week. But even on a poor week, let's see if we can make it out on top, right? So AUD USD, where Sunday right here. So let's see. Overall, it was consolidating, so stay out until we have a breakout, right? So this would have been the only trade to take, and it's such a bummer to see it just drop 15 pips before reversing. Like, look at that. That is just yucky, right? It could have been grabbed all of that, but unfortunately it did hit the stop loss there. If it would have been 15 and a half, you know, trade is safe. Even 15.4. I mean, it's just bad luck on this one, right? Just a weak, bad week to trade with. That's all. But realistically, guys, this would have been one of the few that losses would have been incurred. And as you see, it's very minor. Like, it would have been a total of 5 trades so far taken on 3 currency pairs only. Okay, and let's see USD CAD. So similar story, right? You can see all the consolidation here. It bounced up. The split happened last week, but it was just going sideways for a little while on Sunday. So taking a sell anywhere here, let's see if that would have been worthwhile. Okay, with a 15 pip stop loss. There, close enough. And 45 profit. All right, so this would have been a loss. This one right here would have been a break even. This one, it didn't, unfortunately, it didn't come to the pivot line, so that was nothing. This one right here, it went up and then down a few times, so this would have been a break even. And then finally, this would have been a winner. The only trouble is it would have happened near the end of that pivot line going down, right? The only other one would be here where it popped up. So this is why I prefer taking sell stops rather than sell limits, right? So even though that this went up, when it's already up here, a couple hours after the pivot line forms, I take a sell stop. It only triggers once it goes in, and profit is made, right? So again, worst case scenario, this would have been a loss week. Overall, with 2 wins and about 4 losses at this point, it would have just been up either a 2-to-1 or a 1-to-1, depending. This last one would have been a winner. However, if playing by the rules right from the beginning, and taking a sell limit, taking the entry right as the line forms, then yes, it would have been another loss. So yeah, not a great week to go on. I believe next week is going to be much better because now finally all the EMAs are starting to spread, right? As you can see, all the pairs, the consolidation's pretty much over. All the lines are starting to go their separate, or their, what do I want to say? They're starting to go in their direction, and they're all starting to spread apart. So this is going to be a good opportunity to catch some trades coming into next week. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to share. Happy trading, and I'll see you next week.